Hi everyone, Sandy here. This is the finished album that I will be showing you shortly in a tutorial how to make. This is a 5x7 that I designed for Country Craft Creations. Has a 2 3/4 inch spine. It's a 5x7 album with a bit smaller pages, 3-page sets on the inside, and I'll be showing you how to make this in the video. Stay tuned. For this project, we're going to need our basic tools, which are a cutter for your chipboard, a 12-inch cutter. I use a Premier wooden guillotine. There are other cutters that will cut chipboard, so whatever you use to cut chipboard, or if you don't have a cutter, of course a craft knife, ruler, and mat will work as well. You will also need a 12-inch paper trimmer for your pattern paper and cardstock. You'll need your scoreboard, which is the 12-inch size, a bone folder and score tool, one or both, scissors of course, and as I said, a ruler, mat, and craft knife, pencil, and a pen. And probably we're going to use a 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch corner rounder. I haven't decided yet, so, or any type of corner punches that you want to use for your project. You're also going to need your adhesive, which will be the 3/8 inch score tape, and I'm using art glitter glue, which dries clear. So those are my choices for adhesive, but you definitely do need some kind of score tape or tape like that. Then you're going to need some magnets. I have the small magnetic disc and I have the large. I would say I'm probably going to use this size, the small, but that will be determined later. But you are going to need some magnets, so if you have a couple of packs of magnets, that's great. I will be using this A4 size paper pad, which is an 8.27 inch by 11.69 inch paper by Prima. It's a really beautiful sewing themed paper with buttons and scissors and things like that. This pad is from Country Craft Creations. You get 30 sheets, which are 6 double-sided designs, and there's 5 sheets of each design. So that's plenty to work with for this project that we're going to do. I will hopefully be able to determine how many pages I actually use out of the pad, but I'm safe in saying you're not going to need it all, so you'll have plenty for other projects. I'm also going to be using the gray artisan cardstock, which is a wonderful cardstock that you can order exclusively from Country Craft Creations, and the total cardstock pages that I'm going to need are 10 for the project, but you might want to add 1 or 2 extra in case you make a mistake or you need more for mats and things like that. So let's go ahead and say 12 of the 12 by 12 cardstock. You're going to need just 1 sheet of the, let's get to it, chipboard. I have that here. There it is. It's under my cardstock. 1 sheet of the chipboard will cut this project out. And then also in my design team package, I did receive some of my colors, so these may be used for mats, and what I have to work with are 2 of the Irish Cream and 2 of the Pink Delight. So those are the 2 colors. I have 2 sheets of each of those, and then my colors that you can order from Country Craft Creations. So that's the paper. Other things that I will have to use, may or may not use, is the seam binding ribbon in this emerald green, this ivory color, and the very light pink. These are all from Country Craft Creations as well, so I may incorporate all or just 1 or 2 of these into the project. Also, I'm pretty sure I'll be using the Say It in Crystals by Prima, also from the My Sweet paper collection. And I will see if I have how it looks to incorporate a couple of these metal corners, these ornate metal corners by Graphic 45, and then of course I'll be adding in these chipboard stickers from Prima, also for the My Sweet collection. So that's our supplies and tools that I know of right now. If there's something else that I need to add, I'll put it across the screen so that you'll know to add that in. So let's get started on this tutorial. For your cover, you will want to cut 3 pieces of chipboard, 2 that are 5 inches wide by 7 inches tall. That's the front and back cover, and then 1 for the spine that is 2.5 wide by 7 inches tall. So that's our chipboard. We are going to be using the lay flat album wrap method designed by Tamara of Country Craft Creations. So I need 2 pieces. I'm going to use the same for the front and the back. And I'm going to go ahead and use pattern paper. If you're not comfortable with using pattern paper to wrap your cover, then do it in cardstock. The Artisan cardstock is a really great cardstock to use for wrapping albums. And then mat your pattern papers onto it. But for this one, I'm going to give you the measurements for the pattern paper to wrap. If you're going to switch it over to cardstock, you would use the same measurements. So you need 2 pieces that are 7 inches wide by 9 tall. Pay attention to the directions of your patterns if you're using the pattern paper. And then I wanted the dot for the spine, so I cut this one 5.5 wide by 9 inches tall. So you use 3 pieces of paper from that collection pad, from the My Sweet collection pad, if you're going to wrap them this way. So let me grab my scoreboard, my mat, a scoring tool, and bone folder. And I'm going to use glue on mine. You can use score tape if you want. And then I need these spacer guides that are exclusive from Country Craft Creations. You have 2 that are 1 inch wide by 12 inches and one that's 1.5 by 12 inches. This is for the spine. This is for the cover. Now, if you don't have these sell at countrycraftcreations.com, and they do sell out. They're under tools, I believe, on the website. If you can't get them right now, just keep checking back. They will have them, but you can also use scraps of chipboard for this. So you can cut 2 pieces that are chipboard that are 12 inches by 1 inch, and then cut 1 piece that is 12 inches by 1.5. So I'm going to take my first paper now. I want the roses for the outside, so I'm going to put this upside down, up underneath the guides. Just make sure it goes all the way up to the top of your scoreboard and mat, and here on the sides. And I put this down, so that tells me where the 1 inch mark is, because I want 1 inches all the way around on this. So then you take one of the chipboard pieces and put adhesive on all of that, and I'm just using the glue. And if you work quick enough with art glitter glue, it will spread out just fine. It does dry quickly though, so you need to know what you're doing before you put it on the paper or the chipboard. So take up your spacing guides and then flip this over and give it a good rub and burnish. Sometimes with your hand helps to spread that out, because the warmth of your hand can spread that glue out, or a paper towel or something. So you want to just, I'm using this flat side of my bone folder to just spread that all out. Okay, and then I'm going to do the second one exactly the same. So we want a paper down. Pretty side that we're using, or the side, they're all pretty, all sides are pretty. So the side that we want to see, we're putting down, face down, and then we put this here. And grab our other chipboard piece and apply glue. And quickly put it down and make sure it goes all the way to the top of the guide and all the way to the left of the guide. You want it nice and straight. It just makes it easier when you're folding those sides down. Okay, so that's dry. Now we'll go ahead and do the spine one. And again, you want this side you want to see down. If you wanted this other side, you could do that. I just want the dots. So I'm going to put that all the way to the left, all the way to the top. This time we're going to put a 1 inch at the top, but we're going to put the 1.5 on the side. So with this particular method, you want 1/2 inch to wrap the top and the bottom, but you want 1.5 on each side, because this is where your cover is going to attach to the spine. So now we put the glue on. Right, and put it down, flush up against the guides, remove those, go ahead and burnish. So you see how it's wider here on the sides, that's what we want. Burnish that down. Okay, so that's all you need the guides for, so you can put them out of your way. And now we're ready to start wrapping our cover pieces. I'm going to do one with you, and then I will do the other off camera, and then I'll do the spine with you. So the first thing I want to do, since this is pattern paper, I want to score along the chipboard edge. Kind of train that paper a little bit. Don't press too hard. I like to use a tool, a scoring tool. This one's by Cricut. There is another brand on the Country Craft Creations website that Tamara uses. I already had this one before she brought that one into the store. So either one works great. So we've got that. Then I'm going to take this and stand it up and fold it into it as well. Just like this. Okay, and make sure that they're folding up good. Burnish. Try to do it so that it doesn't crack. So I'm not being real hard aggressive on it, but just kind of working with it. This is the Prima paper, so I think that it's going to be fine. I don't know, this time I just felt that I wanted the solid wrap in the pattern paper. It's really not necessary for this project. You can do the chipboard if you want. So now we're ready to miter our corners, so I'm going to grab my smaller scissors. And my bookbinding mitering tool. You can find these online. There's different kinds. And a pencil. So this isn't necessary, it's just that I like to. I mark it here on the corners. This gives me about 1/8 of an inch from the tip of the chipboard to that pencil line where I'm going to cut it. So you can use a regular ruler to measure that, or you can use the method that Tammy does on her wrap, where she cuts out these squares and then miters. So either way is fine, whichever you like to do. So I'm going to cut this right here on this line on all four. And then we're going to wrap the long sides first. Pull it over, just going to take a good look at it and see how it's doing. It looks pretty good. Now that I'm going to take my glue and put a line of glue right along the chipboard onto that patterned paper, right where it bends. And then I'm going to put glue on the rest. And then pull this over with my fingers and then burnish it so that it sticks down. If any glue oozes out, just wipe that off. Okay, and then I'm going to kind of burnish it gently up here at the top on the edge, and it's got a nice finished edge there. So now we'll do this other side the same way. Put that line of glue right along the chipboard in the fold line. Glue on the flat piece, fold it over, make sure I'm staying in the frame here where you can see, burnish, across the top, so that looks really good. Isn't that pretty? Now the other side. Now the first thing we need to do is take your bone folder or your fingernail, and I'm going to hold it up so you can see maybe. Where this comes across all the way to the end, you're going to see that 1/8 of an inch of it sticking over on both sides. If you were to just fold that, it would have an ugly, it would not look right. So you want to push that in, pressing it down so it's not poking up. just kind of a curve motion, just pushing it in. And then when we fold it, it's going to be a better laying flat, a whole lot better. If there's still too much sticking over, very carefully trim just a tiny bit more off. And I'm thinking on this one it needed just a little more. So we still have those tucked in. Fold it up, and yes, so that's the perfect miter there. So we do the glue the same way along the fold line onto the pattern paper right up against the chipboard, and the glue in our flaps, and then bring it over and burnish. Wipe off any excess that you might have. Miter that little corner really good. Do the tip, and there, it looks really nice. So do the other the same way. Fold it over, and I think it does need trim just a little bit. Just checking it. Burnish this in. You don't want to cut away too much because you don't want a hole there. Okay, so now I'm going to check it again. It's better. Okay, maybe just a tad bit here. We need to miter that in. Rather burnish it in. Okay, now it's ready for the glue. And burnish. So that looks good. So now I'm going to do the other one off camera, but for now I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do the spine piece real quick, and then I'll get my other one done. So for the spine piece, we're going to fold. First we're going to score, along the chipboard to kind of start the paper folding here. Whoops. All four sides. Then I'm going to fold it, stand up the chipboard and fold it to get a good fold. Really nice and pretty. Other way. I'm going to burnish it so that I have these nice and crisp that are sticking out over the edge. Okay, so that's that. So these are going to, are the only ones we fold over is these two end ones. Okay. So now we're going to go ahead and glue those down. Now if you want, you can cut that area out, but I think I'm going to leave it there because I like this finished edge up here on the top. So I'm going to put glue along that fold line of the chipboard and then on the pattern paper and fold it over. And then I'm going to burnish it down in there, get it nice and flat and attached to the chipboard. Right there. Okay, the other side as well. Fold that over. We're going to burnish that. Make sure that we're getting it stuck right up there against it and on the chipboard. Now turn it over this way, the finished side up. You can kind of see that fold line. Take the rounded part of your bone folder and you're going to burnish right up against that chipboard along that fold line. Back and forth. You want to get a good indentation. This is where your hinges covers are going to attach, and this is where it's going to bend. So you want to burnish it back and forth. Don't poke a hole in it. Use a rounded part of a bone folder. I'm going to turn it over. I'm going to do it from the inside as well, because it does bend back and forth here. And then again from the front side. Now if you look, you can see the raised part here. This is where your cover is going to attach. Now I'm not going to do any mitering until I see how it's going to fit. So I'm going to do my other one off camera, and then we'll be ready to put those together. Okay, so I have both pieces covered now, and we're ready to put it back on put it onto the spine. So I'm looking at my directions of my flowers. You're not going to notice it too terribly much, but there's a little bit of directional. So like these rosebuds, I want to make sure they're going more up. So I'm turning these around to be sure. So on each one, take a pencil, and I'm going to write top, so that when I'm working on the inside of the book, I'll know which way is which. For now, so that's the top, that's the top. Okay, yeah, that's correct. So I want them both going the same direction. Now, we're going to glue this piece here to this one here. Now then, sometimes you have a little excess of the paper sticking over that you would miter. You would miter very, very tiny, not hardly any at all, or you're going to have a gap. So I'm just kind of trimming just a little bit from this edge where the fold line is. Put my scissor right up against that and just barely cut any off of that, because that's folded down there, and I don't think it really needs it very much, but just to make sure if it does, I'm going to cut that. So this is the top. Doesn't matter on this. So they're going to go right up against. You're going to butt this right up against it. So I'm going to take my glue. I like to leave about 1/8 of an inch from the raised edge fold line, because that way it keeps the adhesive from oozing through. I like to use glue instead of tape on this, because sometimes I get the tape sticky. Put glue over the whole piece here now. Take this, got my top, and I'm going to push it right up against that chipboard right there, all the way, nice and even, nice and flat in here. And burnish it on this other side. Okay, and then we're going to do it the other side. So here's my top. Here's my top on this one, so it's going to fit right in there. So again on this one, keep your glue about 1/8 of an inch from the raised edge. Just do a line of glue here, and then fill in the glue, working quickly so it doesn't dry on you. Okay, then take your cover piece. I'm making sure this is the top here, same as over here, and I'm just going to push it all the way up into there, lock it in. So I'm going to just slide a little bit. We're going to go down some. There we go. Line it up top and bottom. Burnish it. Flip it over. Give it a burnish here on the inside. Okay. Just let it dry for just a few seconds before we fold it up. So that's the cover on or assembled, and we're ready to work on the inside. So I'm going to let it lay there for just a few seconds, and then I'll come back with the inside pieces that we need to add. So for the inside of my album cover, I took 2 more pieces of the pink dot paper, because I'm going to use this size, and cut these 2 pieces down. This is for your inside cover. You need 2 that are 4 3/4 by 7 inches. And then out of that same paper, I was able to cut, of what was left, a piece for the hinge. I am going to use pattern paper again. I just really like the look of it, and when it's a good quality paper, I feel confident in doing that. If you want yours in cardstock, that's fine, but I'm going to cut mine, and on the cutting guide it's going to say pattern paper. I'm going to cut one 4 inches by 6 1/2, and that's going to be scored for the hinge. And then for the center section over the spine here, I wanted the pink dot, and this is also cut from the scrap left from these. So you want one that goes inside your spine area that's 4 1/2 wide by 7 inches tall. And I did go ahead and apply my score tape sheet so that it'll stick down good. So these are the inside covers. I'm going to set those aside. Excuse me. And we're going to go ahead and put this one in next. So go ahead and peel the paper backing off your score tape. Now the reason I highly recommend you use score tape or score sheets or score tape, but solid coverage. If you're using tape, you want it all the way across, every inch covered, every piece, because when you put this down, this is what's going to make this section even more secure, but it's where it's going to be folding. And if you glue, there's a risk of not having it covered completely, and it will have bubbles or buckle on you. So you want the score tape or score sheets for that reason. I'm using the sheets, so I'll peel that off. And because this is the exact length of the album, you got to be real careful and make sure that you're lining it up where it's not extending over. Now I want this I want it centered, so it's going to be about, looks like a 1/2 inch from each side. It is going to be covered up, so you know, if you're off a little bit, that's okay. I'm just making sure here on the end. You know what? I'm going to double check it with it dry fit. So I'm flipping it over to just make sure I can see where it's going to go. So I think from the top I'm going to do it, because that really matters more to me. So let's turn this over. This is the top, where I've got it labeled top. And I'm going to line this up right on the top. Very straight, nice and straight. And then down, and so then it should fit exactly. Just make sure you have cut it good. Now that's your center of your album on the inside. So I'm going to burnish all this first. Make sure it's all down good. And then we're going to fold it up very carefully, both directions. This is where the fold is, and then I'm going to burnish it very gently with a rounded bone folder, not a sharp point, but the rounded edge. Burnish in that fold on both sides. Bringing it up. Okay, so you see how it goes down in there. So this is the top. So this, then I gently fold it over. A little more light pressure, kind of flatten it down, and that gives us a nice fold. And that's the cover like that. So you see your back, how nice that looks all wrapped. Okay, so now we're going to open it up. Again, this is the top. These 2 pieces are going to go here. Now we decide now if we want ribbon closure before I put this down, because I need to do that. This is going to be our hinge. So let me look at the ribbons. Got the emerald. Pink. I do like multiple ribbons. pink and the cream color, or beige. So yeah, we're probably going to use all that for a ribbon tie. Now we don't need it to go around the outside. I'm going to put these on the inside this time. So I'm going to measure halfway down. So that's 7, so that's going to be 3.5. Right about here. Okay, do it on both sides. Okay, so now we have those marked. Take score tape. I'm going to put a piece down. Oh, about 1/2 inch in from the edge. Over that mark, about 1/2 inch. I'm going to put one ribbon down first. The green, I'm going to put it right here. And then I'm going to put some tape over it again. What I'm doing is securing each one. Put down pink. And then the ribbon, the tape for the third one. Which is the off-white one, the cream. And I just stacked them right on top of each other. And if you want, you can trim any strings off. It's not really going to matter. It's going to be covered, but kind of want a little cleaner. Maybe. There we go. Scissors sticky. Now then, decide how long I want this to be. First, I'm going to go ahead and put my paper down, so because I've got that sticky there. So I want this. This is the top. Now pay attention to the directions of your pattern. And this is going to go the length and height of the book, but about maybe about a 1/8 of an inch from the edge. So I'm going to put my paper down. I want the pattern on this one to show. Put my glue down, I mean. Put some right here on top of this ribbon here. Okay. Now we're going to line this up, and we want, like I said, even with the top. I like to do it from the top in case I'm off a little bit. So even from the top, about 1/16 of an inch over. Make sure it's straight. Or 1/8 of an inch, I guess I should say. That should keep it out of the fold over here on the left. If you cut it correctly, go ahead and burnish that down. Okay, so now we have that. Now I'm going to close it up and decide how much ribbon I want to tie. So that looks like about the finished part of it is about 12, 13, about 14 and a half. So then we had another inch, about 15 and a half each, and then put it down. Now what I do is I take these and I'm going to tie a knot, all of them together at the very end. Just like this. And then you trim that off. I'm going to do them all at an angle. So there's that side of the closure. Now we're ready to put the other side on. So this is my top. Because now nope, this is my top because now I have the directional of the butterflies. Okay, so now we're going to take another green and then the pink and the beige. Okay, so we're going to do the tape the same way on this side. So I already have one down, so I'm going to peel that off. And it was the green one first. So I'm just going to kind of lay my ruler across. I did mark it, so I think it is going to be the same, but just kind of want to make sure. Kind of line this up. So I'm going to put that right there. Now we'll put another piece of tape down. And now we got the paper. We're going to put some glue on the ribbon here. Glue on our paper on the back side, which we put the glue on the pink dot. Turn this around so I can see the top side. Make sure I'm still in the camera. I have a limited area here and I have a camera pole here on my side, so sometimes I push myself over and I shouldn't be. So let's make sure the butterflies are going the correct direction, and we're going to line this up again straight across the top and about 1/16 of an inch, 1/8 of an inch from the side. Oops. Okay. And we're going to burnish that down. And see how it clears that section there. Wipe off any glue if you have any oozing into that spine area. Okay, now let's turn it around and we can trim these ribbons off too. What did I say, about 14.5 inches or so. And the finished, there's 12. Maybe a little bit more on these. Okay, then I will tie these, flatten them all out, tie them in a knot at the end. Tying them all together. Oops. There we go. Didn't have my green one poked through there good enough. And of course we trim that off. Okay, there's the ribbon tie. Now this is the top of the book. Everything's front and back, got the right direction. So this is where this will tie together. Right here, when we bring it all together, because it's Hard to do it right now because we don't have anything on the inside, but it's going to tie like that. So the next thing we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and make our hinge for this section in here. And then the next segment we will be doing the pages. There'll be 3 page sets in this little album, and the finished cover here is measuring 5 inches by 7. And the pages will end up being 6.5 by 4.5, and they will fit portrait style 4 by 6 photos. Okay, so if that's what you want for it, or if you just want it for decorative things. So let me get my stuff for the hinge. So we need our scoreboard, and we're going to make a hinge for 3 pages. So let me put this over here in the center. Zoom it out. There we go. Remember, it's the dot that we're going to use, and I want the dot on the finished side. So this is the hinge piece is 4 inches by 6.5, either out of the Quality Prima paper hinge, or if you want to use your cardstock, that's fine. Put the 4 inch at the top. We're going to score down from the 4 inch. So you want to score, we're going to have 1/2 inch gussets and 1/2 inch tall hinges, so you're going to score every 1/2 inch. So we score it half, make sure it's lined up good, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, and 3.5. I'm going to see if I can help you do this fairly simple on how to glue and put your hinge together. Now if you want to use score tape, you can. You would put on the back side, you would put tape on the second, I'm thinking here, the second one, the fourth one, and the 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Well, let me give me a pencil and mark it a little easier, a pen on the back side. If you want to do tape, so I would say put the tape on the second one. Skip, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4 on the 5th one. Skip. In the last one. Make sure. This is going to fold here. So these 2 together, skip those 2 together. Okay. Second one, skip 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th one, skip 2, and then the last one. It's confusing, right? So you put your score tape, if you're using score tape, like that. So I'm going to use glue. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, we have 8, so I'm going to count over 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to fold the 4th line, I'm going to fold it in half, okay? And I'm going to burnish this fold line with the finished edge out. Then I'm going to open it up, and if you have tape here where that X is, or your glue, I'm going to take glue and put it in that 1/2 inch section where I have the X. And then I'm going to fold it to the left, and I'm going to glue these 2 together. So I have a fold line here, and I have just glue on the 1/2 inch or tape, and I'm going to burnish that. And let it give it a minute to dry, and then I'm going to open it back. I'm going to press this down so that this comes up like this. So you have that 1/2 inch sticking up. Okay. So next, I'm going to fold and burnish this outer edge. Burnish it really well. I have an X in the second one. I'm going to go ahead and burnish this other one in too. I'll fold it a little bit. So I'm going to put glue on the X, which is the second one, this direction from the right. Doesn't matter, be the second one from the left or second one from the right. But anyway, fold this over and glue it down into that 1/2 inch that has the section next to it. Burnish them really well. You want them to stick really well. Now then, we're going to fold it along the fold line, and so we have 2 sticking up now. Fold it like that, and then you're going to fold this one like this. Now we're on the other side. Got an X here. I'm just going to fold score lines, put the glue or pull the tape backing off on your X on the outer edge. Glue it down. Burnish it really well. Make sure that they stick. Okay, so now you fold this one back on itself right there. So what you have is 2 glued together that makes a hinge. Then you have the 1/2 inch space. You have the center one glued together that makes a hinge, and then you have the last one that's glued together that makes a hinge. So we have 3 hinges that stick up like that. It's flat back here on the back. You see 2 1/2 inch spaces. You see 3 sticking up here. Does that make sense? You have 3 like that. So the first 2 are glued together. This one in the middle stays free. The 2 middle ones are glued together on the back, and the 2 outer ones again are glued on the back on the inside, and it creates this look. Now then, we're going to take our 3/8 inch score tape. I hope I have enough. You're going to flatten the hinge here, and you're going to put tape in the center, so you'll have a little bit clear on the top and a little bit clear on the bottom, because these are 1/2 inch hinges and this is 3/8 tape. And so you want it on both sides of each hinge, so that double 1/2 inch that's been glued together is the one you're putting it on. Okay, and I just burnish them together, you know, the tape backings. So there's one hinge right there. So you have 1/2 inch, you don't put anything there. The next 2, the center ones that are glued together, you want tape on those front and back. Flip it over. So there we have that one. And it has a space here, so the last 2 that are glued together, tape front side and the back. We burnish those tape backings so they're easier to peel off when we're ready to put our pages on. For right now, we're not going to put pages on them because we've got to make our pages first. Okay, so fold it back up so you have the 3 with the score tape sticking up. Score tape on both sides of each hinge that's sticking up. This side is still blank. I will be using glue on mine. You could use tape if you wanted to. Next, I'm going to miter cut so that my pages fit on better or easier. Grab my little scissors here. Okay, so you have, this is the bottom side. Turn it so that you can put your scissors right up against the fold here and just make a angle cut on both ends. Here's your fold. Put your scissors there and just cut. Just a little angle cut. Do it on all 3 hinges. Not the 1/2 inch part that has no tape, but just the ones with the tape, and do both ends. This last one. Turn it, and all my trash flies off my table to the back. Okay, so we have those like that. Now we're going to go ahead and put it in our cover, but we're not ready yet to put on any pages, of course, because we don't have any. So we open this up, and this is going to fit just right in here. And I'm going to make sure, or to the best of my ability, to put them centered, which is about 3/4 of an inch from the fold of the spine, and then about 1/4 inch from the top and the bottom. So we can do a little bit of marking if we want to. So I'll lay this here, grab my pencil, find out where, there it is. So I've pulled it down about 1/4 of an inch from the top. I'm just going to put 3/4 of a dot here. See if that works. That's about right. See from down here, I don't know if I need marks on both sides or not. I'm going to use this side here and do a light pencil mark. And 1/4 of an inch. And 1/4 of an inch. So I've just put a mark there, because we're going to glue this in and we want it as straight as we possibly can. And so that's going to be okay. So now I put glue on the back of the spine of the hinge, sorry, put it on that both 1/2 inches that are the back side. Put it on pretty good. Maybe a little bit there in the middle. Okay, doesn't matter top or bottom because it's a dot. And I'm going to line the top edge. You want the edge of the hinge, the fold here on the outside. Each one about 1/4 of an inch. They're pretty well centered. Let's bring this one down a little bit. We want it straight. Okay, it looks good. Now I'm going to take my bone folder and I'm going to burnish down in that sections, these 2 1/2 inch sections that do not have tape on them, and burnish them, burnish them, burnish them. And then if you see any pencil marks that you want to get rid of, go ahead and do that now. So I have one here at the top, just a little bit showing. Right here. Okay. So there's our hinge insider book. Clean that up. Burnished in, glued in, and we're ready to start on some pages. So that's how it looks finished with patterned paper. You don't have any colors. I forgot to ink these papers here, but I'm okay with that. I may not ink this particular book because I like the white. So this is going to be our cover. So I'm just going to kind of loop it together a little bit here and kind of tie a bow so it can start training itself a little bit better. There's that. And that's how it will look once we get our pages in. Okay, so I'll set that aside, and next we'll be ready to start on the pages. So I'm going to clean some of my stuff up and then we'll be ready to do that. Now we're ready to create our 3-page sets. They're all 3 going to be the same. I'm using the gray artisan cardstock from Country Craft Creations. The first pieces we'll cut are your base pages, which are going to be 4.5 by 7.5, and you want to cut 3 base pages 7.5 by 4.5, and we'll score them as we're constructing. Then you need a base page sleeve. And that is 3 of those cut at 4.5 by 6.5. Then you'll need top page pockets, and we're going to cut 6 top page pockets. Gather them all up. Cut 6 at 5.5 by 7. Then we're going to have some page flaps, and we're going to cut 6 page flaps at 4.5 by 6. 4.5 by 6. So go ahead and get all those cut. We're also going to need top insert flaps, and we're going to cut 6 of these at 3 7/8 wide and 12 inches long. And then the last thing that we need is our side insert mat, and we're going to cut 4 wide by 6 3/8 tall, and we cut at least 3. You can cut more if you want, if it will fit into your book, but for now I'm just going to cut 3 of these, so 1 for each page. Okay, so now we're ready to do assembly, scoring and assembly. Okay, so we have our cardstock cut for our pages for our 3-page sets. Now I'm going to just show you the scoring and assembly for just 1-page set because they're all the same. I already have 2 done. So we're going to take our base page piece, which is your 4.5 by 7.5, and we're going to turn it and score the 7.5-inch side. Make sure it goes in at the top, and here on the left you're going to score at a 1/2 inch, and then scoot over and score at 7 inch. Now that's your base page. The base page sleeve, there's no scoring, so we put those 2 together. Let's get these upside down. Can't see well upside down. The next that we're going to score is our top page pockets. You have 2 of those for each page set. So I'm going to score the 5.5-inch side. This one measures 5.5 by 7, so you're going to score your 5.5-inch side at a 1/2 inch and 5. Now remember, all 3 page sets are made the same, so I'm showing you one. You will do them all the same. Turn this so that your 7-inch side is here at the top, and you're going to score at a 1/2 inch. Okay. Do that on the second one for this page set, so you're going to do it on all of them. There's 2 for each page set, so I'm scoring the 5.5-inch side at a 1/2 inch. Make sure it's all the way over or you'll be off. 1/2 inch and 5. Turn and score just at 1/2 inch. Okay, those are top pockets. Top loading pockets. Then we need page flaps, and we're going to have you cut a total of 6, so 2 for each page set. So I'm going to show you scoring 2. These are the 4.5 by 6 inch, and remember, I will have this in a cutting guide. The link to that will be down below in the description of the tutorial video, and then you will be able to go to the PDF file and print it up so that you have it to follow along. So take your page flaps, which is your 4.5 by 6, and you're just going to score on your 4.5-inch side at a 1/2 inch. Okay, 1/2 inch on the 4.5-inch side. Then you have these long pieces that you cut that are 3 7/8 by 12. You have 2. You have a total of 6, so you have 2 for each page set. You're going to insert this so that the 12-inch is at the top of your scoreboard, and you're just going to score in half at 6 inches on all those. Six inches on the 12-inch side, and then you have 1 side insert mat for each page set. So you have 3 of these. These are check 4-inch, yeah, 4-inch by 6 3/8. No scoring on that, so you just set that aside. So we're done with the scoreboard for now, and we're going to assemble this page set. So let's go through here and grab our base page, which is our 4.5 by 7.5 piece, and we're going to fold both score lines, the top and the bottom, and we're going to burnish those really well. We want to get that really laying down flat. Your base page sleeve has no scoring on it. We're going to flip our base page over so you see you have your 2 1/2 inches here on the back. We're going to put our adhesive right here on one. Sorry, I have to clean off that end there. So here we go. Put your glue on if you're using the glue, or score tape, whichever you prefer. I like to use glue because it gives me some wiggle room to get it on straight. And then we're going to just attach one end first. Make sure we line it up here at the bottom, the top, and right along that fold line. And burnish really well. If it slipped on you a little bit, just slide it with that glue. See there how I can move it? Now I burnish it. I'm going to open it up and burnish it here on the inside as well. Okay, so now we're ready to attach this end. So take your glue on your 1/2 inch flap or your adhesive. We're going to fold it down so that it lines up. So try to keep it on camera. We'll make sure the fold of the hinge lines up with the page. So I'm just going to look at it, make sure nothing's sticking out where it doesn't belong, and then I burnish it down. Now I want you to burnish it really, really well. So we want them to really be flat. As flat as possible. If you have any glue oozing out, go ahead and clean that up a little bit. So that is our base page. Next we're going to add top loading pockets, and we have one for each side. So you have 2 of these. These measured 5.5 by 7, and they're scored on 3 sides. So you're going to take your scissors, and where this corner is, you're just going to cut at an angle right across the intersection on both of these. So these are top loading pockets. Go ahead and fold the score lines, and with that angle cut, it should not overlap here on the corners, so they should be pretty able to lay down pretty flat. So go ahead and burnish really well, and again you want to make sure these are burnished well enough that they're pretty flat when you flip them over. So I'm just burnishing the fold line really well with this flat side of my bone folder. The corner here, turn it over and burnish again. There we go. There is a pocket there. Let's do the other one the same way. We're going to fold the sides. Burnish. Make sure they really burnish down flat here. And there's no overlapping there in the corner. Turn it over. Now if you want, and you feel a little bit more comfortable with it not being even here so it doesn't show, you can take this, open it up, put your scissor up against that score line. Just do a little tiny snip here at the top if you like, a little angle miter cut here with both of these. Just open it up. Oops. Okay, put it up against it, and then just trim that off. So those are the top loading pockets. Now you're going to have to be very careful when attaching these to your page to make sure they're going to the top. So I have this labeled. If you don't have yours labeled, look at your page, and I'm going to determine that this is the top here, like that. I want everything to be going on the correct way. And so here on the front of this one, I'm going to write top. So this would be the edge that doesn't have a hinge. That's your top. All this will be covered by patterned paper, so don't write it real close to the edge, kind of drop it down. So we have these. So that means this is going to glue right on top of that page so that it's opening at the top. I like to go ahead and do my adhesive on all three sides so I can get it on and lined up really well. So you just have to work kind of quickly with your art glitter glue. So I put it on all three sides. Grab my page, making sure this is the top here and this is the top here, and I'm going to line it up here on the bottom and then along the right edge of my page. Make sure it should fit on there really well. If it kind of looks like it slipped a little bit, like right here, I'm just going to slide it with this glue, get it back where it belongs, and I'm going to burnish. Now you have to burnish really, really good here, especially on these edges. If you have to put in a little extra glue, that's okay. We want this really flat, okay? And then we want to make sure the pocket is glued down good. So there's the pocket on that top side there. We're going to turn it over, and here it is on this edge. Now this time we'll attach it down, making sure we're aligned up here on this left edge, and it should fit just perfect on that side there. So we need the glue. Okay, top edge of the pocket has to go to the top of the page. So I'm lining up down here at the bottom, and again here on my left side, bringing it across, taking a good look at it, push it down a little bit if it needs it. Right here. Okay, that looks good. Now we burnish. Again, we want really flat pockets on here. As flat as you can get, having a hinge, okay? I don't want it so flat that I can't get anything in and out of it, but I just want the page nice and flat. So there's our page. We have two top opening pockets right there. Then we have the sleeve opening here on the side that will attach to the hinge, okay? So this is what we have like that. Okay, so next we want to add our flaps. So this is the top. So this is the front side of our pocket. Side insert. Okay, here we go. This would be your 4.5 by 6 inch ones with a 1/2 inch hinge. So we're going to just fold our hinge and burnish. Fold this one and burnish. So we have one on the front and one on the back. So I'm going to label this one front, so I know, and this front one is going to go on the right side of the page. You'll notice it's a little short. I want this to go all the way to the top because it's going to make it look correct with a insert we're going to put. So it's going to have this about a 1/2 inch on the bottom and this edge here, and that's what I want. So we're going to flip this over. We're going to put glue on the back of the hinge. We're going to see, make sure we have our front, our hinge goes to the right. We have the top here. So here on the right, we are attaching our flap, and we need to make sure we're lining it up here at the top, the fold of the flap along with the right edge of the page. So go ahead and Once you have that correct, let me make sure. Got mine down a little bit, had it up a little high. Okay, there we go. Burnish it. Burnish that flap on. And then right here. Okay. So I'm looking on my others just to make sure we're doing them all the same. Now then, we're going to, this is your front. You're going to flip it over. You have your top up here. You have your next page flap. And we're going to attach it to the left side this time. Same position, all the way up at the top, all the way to the left. That gives us that border. So add your adhesive. Position this so that it's to the far left and all the way up to the top. And I'm just going to pick it up so I can see it a little better. And once it's in place, we're going to burnish it. Just like that. Now we're ready to put some magnets in. So let's turn it back to the front. We're going to open this flap up, and I am using the small magnetic snaps from Basic Gray that you can order from Country Craft Creations. I have a plus and a minus. I'm peeling the backing off of the plus. It doesn't matter which one you use first. Okay, the back side of the flap opened up. I'm going to put this about in the center, about 1.25 inches, inch and a half over from the edge. Okay, place your other one on top so you see your paper. Peel the paper backing off. Close it, make sure it's lined up, press it down, and then lift up and grab some score tape to place over them to secure for now. Okay, so that's that side. So that's the front. Now we flip it over to the back, open it up to the left, and we'll take our other little magnet set. So you're going to need 6 small magnet sets for these pages. So you need 2 on each page set. So again, kind of in the center, about 1.5 inches, 1.25 or so, and just attach the other magnet, peel the backing off, close it up, open, and add your score tape. Okay, so now we have our magnets on. Close that up. So turn it back to the front. Now we have these long ones that were scored in half. So they're the 3 7/8 by 12. Scored them at 6 inches on the 12-inch side. We're just going to fold it on that score line. Burnish it really well. This creates, when you open it up, this creates an insert that's removable. So it goes in that top pocket on the front page. Comes down over the magnet. It's going to hang there and cover it up with that flap. And it holds it with the magnet. Flip it over to the back. Open your flap. Fold and burnish your top insert. We're going to insert it into the top loading pocket on the back side. Remember, you have 2 of those. Push it all the way in and close it up. Okay, so there's that. This one here, once we've put this on the page, so this is the front, we'll insert into that side pocket that will be created when we put our page set on the hinge. So you can just kind of slip it in there for now so you don't lose it. So we have 3 identical page sets that are going to go inside our album cover. And if you want to just double check real quick, tie this. See, we have the 3 hinges. And I'm just going to dry fit one I'm not putting it on yet because I'm going to add pattern paper to it first. So this, your open sleeve hinge right there fits on that. So that one will fit there, and then your second one and your third one. So that's how your pages will go into your book. I have all my pattern papers cut, and I will give you the measurements and the quantity in the cutting list that will be in the description. The link to the cutting list will be in the description, but I want to show you real quick how to easily pattern your paper. Now first I'm doing this is the first page set. I'm not going to show you all of them, but this is for the front cover, or the front flap I mean. And so this one was cut at 3 7/8. Make sure put that there. 3 7/8 by 5 7/8. So you open it up so that it's flat. So that makes it easier to glue this down. So I'm just putting my glue on the back real quick. And I do like to use the art glitter glue to attach my pattern papers down. And when you're using these thicker papers, the glue doesn't really show through the glue lines. I know some people have had some problems. Also, you need to make sure you're not taking a long time to attach them down. Know where you're putting it and get it down real quick, and then burnish it. Also smooth it out with your hands. That helps to spread that out, and then just burnish real quick like that. So that's the front of the flap. Then I'm going to open it up, and I will put the piece on the back. So you need to make sure you're pulling off your paper backing of your magnet when you do that. And I was going to ink, but then with the white I've decided not to, so I'm just going to. And I didn't ink on the inside of my cover anyway, so I'm okay with that. Sometimes I ink, sometimes I don't, so I'm just going to attach this one down on the back side real quick. And burnish that in. Burnish it really well between the edges and your magnet, because you don't want any of this popping up, so you want to make sure it sticks down. So that's there. Then the next would be a piece for the main page. I'm just double checking where I've cut. This one is going to be cut at 4 3/8 by 6 3/8. Take that paper backing off. I want the butterflies up. So we just put our glue down. And when you're using a paper collection like this, all your patterns and colors go together really well. I just cut them all out, the ones that I like, and then start putting them together. They're going to look good no matter what order of pattern you do. You can do different patterns together, and the whole thing's going to look really nice. So you're going to be okay with that. So there's that main page, and again, where the magnet is, make sure you burnish to the side of it, your top edges, and wipe up any glue that you might have. I had a little bit too much coming out there. Okay, so there's the front side like that. See how your pattern is like peeking out. And then I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to do the back side the same way. So I'm going to open it up, and just make sure when you open it up this way you can see the direction of your papers, so that you're not getting anything out of order here. And let's see here, this is going to be the outer part of this one, so I'm just going to put this one here. Love that butterfly there on the edge. Now for my pattern, adding my pattern papers, I think you see here, put this in. I did use a total of, I believe, 17, yeah, total of 17 of the sheets from the pad used for this because of the direction. And but some of them I am going to be piecing because I think it's going to work really well that way. So there's that. I'm going to go ahead and grab, see which one of these I like. For the back side is this one. So I'm going to put this one down right here with the buttons. So I forgot what I was saying. Go ahead and glue these down. I think I was saying some of these I will piece because I wanted to utilize, even though something wasn't long enough for a certain section, then I will piece with some little scraps and different, shorter big pieces so that I can utilize it. I'm not cutting into more full-size sheets. So I burnish that for that. And then decide what I want on this side. I think it was this here. No, that's the big. Not yet. Let's see here. What's this one? Butterflies. Nope. I'm going to put these roses. So this goes here. Will come together pretty quickly for you, especially when you have the same elements on each page and then you just do the decorating. The decorating may take you a little bit longer because you might want to individualize each page, but your base page, getting it patterned and getting in the book should be pretty quick and simple for you. Okay, so there's the main page already patterned. And now we just need to do the inserts and stuff. So I'll show you that real quick, and then I will do the other two separate on that. So next is the insert. So those pieces are going to have some solids and some patterns. So this up, so this insert's going to go in here. I want it to have, some of these will be pieced because I wanted to utilize all the links that I have, and then some of them will be the full size. So the rose is here. Yeah, that's a full size one. So I'm going to put that one there. And my plan is to use the patterns on the outside of the flap, which I will show you, and then my colors solid on the inside. Put this over and get the outside of this. Excuse me. That one's a little short. I'm going to trim it off a little more so that I can put a matte piece down here at the bottom. So I'll do this side. And this is about a 1/2 inch, same width, 3 3/4. I forgot to give you those measurements there, but it is in your cutting guide. So it's 3 3/4 by 5 7/8, unless you, let me double check that. 3 3/4 wide by 5 7/8 tall, unless you're going to piece it. Then, like if you use a 1/2 inch here, 1/2 inch by 3 3/4, then this up here would be about 5 1/4 long. So that's how you can determine, do your piecing here. And I like the look of that, and that helps stretch out your your pattern papers as well, so you get more cut out of a sheet that way. So this just lays right here. So that's the front and back, whichever way you want to put it in your book. We're going to open it up, and I'm going to use the same colors on each one. So this is the My Colors, and this is the Irish Cream. So it makes a real pretty photo mat. And these are cut the same size as the pattern on the front. And this one here goes up at the top, and I'm using the shiny side with a little texture on it. And I think that's really pretty like that. So kind of finishes it off, but not using all your pattern paper. So there's the insert for the front. So remember, you have 2 for each one. So this slides into the front side like this and all the way over. So I'm hoping the pattern's not too thick for my little magnets here. There, they still hold. Okay. So not quite as much a click as you normally would have, but enough to hold. So that's real pretty that way. So that opens up, and then this opens up, and of course you can take it out. And then we have the other insert right here. So we're going to pattern it. So this is the back side. And we have that. So let's see what we can put on this one. So we've got memories documented. I'm going to trim this down to 5 1/4. Put this over here right quick. Take it from the top here. 5 1/4. Okay. And then this one I'm going to glue right here. We have a smaller one here. Just need to trim this one down a little bit. Where's my big scissors? So it needs to be about 1/2 inch. Just turn it around. Pay attention to your direction in case you have any. And there's that. And then the other side is a full sheet. And I always like to look at the back because I like that too. So I'm going to use that one. Don't want all roses on everything, though they're very pretty. You can still bring them in somehow. With our decorating if we want to. Okay, so that's the outside of this one. This one I'm going to use the pink. My color, so that was called Pink Delight. So we need 2 of those. And again, I'm using the textured side. And so there's that mat, and that slides in just like that all the way to the inside. So we've just kind of, whoops, I was going to do it the other direction. Think. Okay, so either way works. So there's that. And then we're going to have an insert here. It's in there already. Pull this out. So for our insert pages, I have to double check on those to see what size they were. I think that's it. So for the inside pages on the insert mat, you need 6 that are 3 7/8 wide by 6 1/4 tall. So that's just going to attach there. I did cut pattern paper for both sides. If you wanted to use these solid My Colors on one side, that would work too. Oops. Or you can leave it just the gray. Go ahead and put this on and then decide where my top and bottom is. And then when I'm decorating, I may add some kind of tab on this. So there's the top. So that kind of matches that in there. And I am going to go ahead and put something on the back like this. Just make sure that it's directional, is going the right way. And I think it can accommodate more than one insert. So if you wanted to do more like with the My Colors or just out of the My Colors, you could do that. So there's that one. And it just goes inside there. And like I said, I will probably do a tab of some sort on there. Okay, so that is one page set patterned. Of course, this will not go in until we actually put our page in. So it may be too wide. It may stick out enough that we don't have to have a tab if we don't want one. So it's going to be like that. So that's the page patterned with your inserts. So you will continue doing yours, the other two the same way, and get them ready to go in the book. I have all 3 page sets patterned with the paper, and I'm going to run through those real quick for you. Here on the first one, I covered the flaps both inside and out, so I have the birds in the cage here, the large pink dots. Here on this insert, I did the 2 cream color in the inside, and then I did a piecing here. So sometimes when you cut it out, you have enough left that you can do about a 5 1/4 and then do a 1/2 inch piecing on that. And so this one's solid on the back, and of course the base. Now I wanted to show you something here. I made this tag. On some of my pieces that I cut, I was able to have 3 of these. You know, I cut from the bottom for whatever I needed, and so I still had this piece here where this hole is, where they hang it in the store, which would make a great tag, right? So this ended up being, I think it's, let's see here, I had a 6 inch space from the top down. I still had 6 inches. So I just measured and cut. I wanted a 4 inch wide tag, and cut from the center 2 inches over from each side. So this is 4 inches all the way across. I did a little angle punch and some corner rounding. So out of some of my scraps of paper that had these element here, I was able to make extra tag, which will go in there. And I just want 1 for each page set. Don't want to get too thick, because this goes back in there too. You could do more, but then you have to keep them straight. So I'm just going to do 1. As you see, it can go all the way down because it wasn't quite long enough, so I need to put it in. Let me see, grab it again. after I put my top insert in. So I'll add this in and then stick my tag in like this. So it will have probably ribbon or something on it. I'll decide later. So there's the front of that one. Then when you flip it over, you have your flap. I did the butterfly to my suite here. On the inside, I did some of the buttons and sewing. This tag is also pieced here at the bottom. I did the pink inside, and then the back has some more of the sewing stuff. So, and then I did the roses here on the main page. So it came together real quick and easy with the adding the pattern paper. So that's number one. Number two, I did the My Darling with the lady in the oval here in the roses. So this flips back. I got the butterflies. This flip up is pieced here at the top, kind of a reverse. Pink on the inside, sewing on the back, small dots here on the main page. And my tag is like this. So I'm going to put this back in. So my tag has the roses and the sewing on the back. So it just slips right there. And then on the back side, I'll use the large dots, small dots on the tag for here. I did the cream color and then roses and pieced here on the back. So you can flip them around any way you want to. Here on the back, on the inside, on the main page, I used the rabbits, squirrels, and hedgehogs image, and then here's the roses on this side. So that's page set 2. Put them back together the way I want them. And page set 3, I used this pretty rose border here with the graph looking paper. Sewing elements here. The tag has the green and then the graph paper there on the back. This insert is pink. So each set has an insert with pink inside and another one that is the cream. And so this is the back side here with the graph paper. The large dots here on the main page. Now you can mix and match your papers any way you want. I just wanted to show you what I did. I had no specific reason for what I did. It's just these are the ones that I chose, and then I did the piecing to kind of keep from using a lot of full sheets. So on the back side we have the large dots. This opens up the roses. I pieced with the animals here. Got the big dots down here. Of course, this is the cream inside. The back side is the big dots and the small dots here. So I love how it turned out. This paper is just beautiful. And again, it is called Prima's My Suite. So now we're ready to put these into our book. So before we put our page sets into our album cover, go ahead and pull out, if you have them inside of it, your little inserts. Now I did pattern mine front and back with pattern paper. This has the roses and then the button sewing stuff here. So that's my first page. I'm going to set that aside over there. My second page set, this one I covered in small roses and the butterflies and sewing ephemera there. That's my second one. And my third one has the green and then the graph paper with the birds on the back. So this is the one that we're going to be putting in our book first. So I have my third one. Grab your book cover with your hinge already in it and your score tape already on it. So you have score tape on the front and back of each hinge. So pull this open again. So do pay attention to that. You want to make sure your fold flap is out on the outer edges. Okay, so now I've got it opened up. Pull this tape backing back again a little bit. Fit this over it. So I'm glad I noticed that. Of course, this time it didn't go on quite as well. So it's about a 1/16 of an inch. So you have the 1/4 inch down here at the bottom. Now press this really good. Hold it. Pull this out. All the tape backing. All the way in. If it moves, push it back down, your page back down where it belongs before you burnish. So I burnish all of this. That's why I noticed it when I lift that flap up, that I'm like, wait a minute, I can't get in there and burnish. So there we go, burnish that. Then you flip it to the back. You're going to reach in there and pull the tape backing off. There. Go. Grab a hold of it, and you can go ahead and take the whole backing off because it's all in place, and just burnish right there. There we go. Okay, there's the back page on. Got your tag right there, and it can stick out a little bit and then not really be out of the book, so that's good that way. And this insert, excuse me, goes back into this side opening after your hinge is on. Now mine went all the way in, and I'll probably will put a tab thing on it. Okay, now we're ready for the second page, the middle page. So push your hinge down, pull your tape backing off just a bit. Okay, fold it so you have a tail. Now let's grab this one and pay attention to my directions. So this is my flap, so it goes to the outer edge. I open this up so that I can see all the way through. I put my hand in there. I'm going to fit this over my hinge. Should fit on there really nice. Push it down about 1/4 of an inch, I mean not 1/4, 1/16 of an inch from the fold of the hinge. Making sure it's straight with the other page and everything. Push this down. Go ahead and pull this off. If it moves again, just push it down a little bit. You want to keep it straight. I'm going to lift everything up. And I'm going to burnish. It's a little harder to burnish right here where all these thicknesses are, but it will work. There we go. Fold it all back down. And the back side. Reach in, get your tape backing. Press down and burnish. There that one is, and so I'll put my insert back in. Let's try not to push it all the way in. There we go. Like that. Okay, last page, which is really the first one. Press your hinge towards the back. Pull some of the backing off the tape, just the tape. You'll leave the sticky part on the hinge, so you fold that down. Grab this first page, hinge is to the right. Open this up with my hand and just sit it over that hinge. Goes on pretty easily this way. Okay, make sure it's all lined up straight. Before you press it down, make sure again that it's lined up about 1/16 of an inch from the hinge. We're going to go ahead and burnish that. Flip it over. Last piece of backing. There we go. Down and burnish it. Okay, so now our pages, let's go ahead and put this insert back, are in our book. There we go. And we're ready for some decorating, or if you like it the way it is, you know, without any added decorating or flips or tags or anything, because this collection doesn't come with any cut parts. Well, it comes with small ones on the main paper. So I am going to be doing some decorating off camera. Okay, so my 5x7 mini album using Prima's My Sweet paper collection, the A4 paper pad size. is finished. There will be a showcase walkthrough video separate from the tutorial videos, so you can look for that. I'll probably have a playlist for all the videos for this project. So I really love how it turned out. It's kind of a vintage romantic type album. I did use real sewing elements like these buttons on a card here for my cover. I just really love the green and the vintage look of the card that they're on. And I think it goes with the other elements that came with the collection, like the little button cards on the cut-aparts and the thimble and sewing needles and things like that. And then I also love the butterflies and the roses. So it turned out really pretty. It's a great collection. If you haven't checked it out, do so on countrycraftcreations.com. Be sure to check out for all their scrapbooking products, their exclusive paper line, as well as paper collections like this Prima My Sweet collection. Check for your seam binding ribbon, adhesives, and other elements that you might want or need. There's heavy chipboard and the artisan cardstock. There's some new colors of the artisan that you might want to check out. And so I want to thank you so much for watching this tutorial. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Click on the bell so you know when my next project will be ready. I do have enough paper left over. I'll be doing a couple more smaller projects with this collection to give you some inspiration. So thanks again. Bye-bye.